So, Nintendo just wrapped up what I thought was a very impressive Nintendo Direct presentation. Tons of stuff was announced, so let's dive right into it. And normally I skim through these things, I kind of just go through the highlights, at least the highlights in my opinion, but since I feel like the morale in a lot of the Nintendo community has been a bit low lately, I'm going to try to touch on everything they showed to really give the true picture on all the offerings we've got coming. First, let's talk about the 3DS, the system that will not die. It's going to probably outlive all of us. I got way more on this than I expected. I thought maybe we'd get some indie things with the focus being on Detective Pikachu. Oh boy. Was I wrong on that? A new WarioWare game with 300 minigames. Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers is a new entry in that Dylan's Rolling Western series. This actually looks like a lot of fun. You get to bring your Miis into the game. It's sort of a tower defense game that utilizes action combat. Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story is coming to the 3DS, plus a side story, Bowser Jr.'s Journey. I think this RPG series is pretty awesome, so I'm always down to see these games get a wider release. Detective Pikachu looked just as odd as ever, but in a good way. It's nice to see them take the Pokemon franchise in these odd directions, I've said. Obviously, having the Pokemon IP attached to your game allows you to do some pretty weird stuff while still guaranteeing solid sales. The quick attack bit in the trailer genuinely cracked me up.
Quick attack! How was that? Did I do it?
But for me, none of these games are enough to get me to dust off my 3DS. I've moved on, I'm over it. I swore Samus Returns would be the end of that device for me.
That mysterious mansion has reappeared in the Nintendo 3DS remake.
God damn you. I'm going to be honest, this announcement has me half excited, half pissed off. I've been hoping that the Luigi's Mansion games would get some sort of HD remaster for the Switch, but I'm going to support this franchise wherever it goes. If they had announced Luigi's Mansion for the Game Boy Color, I'd still buy it. So I am really excited to play this game again, even if it's not on the system I was hoping for. If you haven't played it or any of the Luigi's Mansion games, this is going to be a great time to jump in. I highly recommend them both. And that concluded the news that was 3DS only. Yeah, it was over, but it wasn't actually over for the 3DS. Moving into the Switch-focused portion, we started with Kirby Star Allies that's coming out next week. One of the big selling points of this game has been Kirby's companions, how they work with the multiplayer mode. You essentially make up this squad of allies to run around with. And this trailer revealed that this would include some major mainstays of the classic Kirby titles. There were some pretty sweet pulls here, like, King Dedede and Meta Knight. Yeah, they're sort of like the big Kirby icons that you see in pretty much anything Kirby. But more will be coming post-launch. The first set includes the likes of Rick, Kine, and Koo from Dreamland 2, Marks from Superstar, and frickin' Gooey from Dreamland 3. Come on. Being able to form these sorts of dream teams from past Kirby games, I'm actually pretty hyped about it. Okami HD, I don't know, do I even have to talk up this game? It's a freaking classic. Been released on just about every console in recent years. If you don't know about it, well, you should know. Simply, that's on you. Day one buy for me, it's like the third time I think I've bought in this game, and I regret nothing. This Sushi Striker game is releasing for both the Switch and the 3DS, and it just screamed mobile game to me when it was first revealed, but I've been coming around a bit to it. Price will probably sway me one way or the other. It seems like it actually could be kind of sweet. The online battles I could see getting pretty frantic. The animations for like the story stuff seem solid. And come on, that theme song, tell me you're not feeling it. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is also coming to both the Switch and the 3DS. I did a couple videos on the original release back in the day. Essentially, this is how you do a more casual puzzle type game. The actual controls are about as simple as it gets, but the gameplay is damn near perfect. The boss fights really put this one over the top in my opinion, and I could see this being a nice way for Nintendo to continue to support the 3DS for however long they want to do that. Like, doing these dual releases where it makes sense allows them to keep putting stuff out on the 3DS while keeping the spotlight focused on the Switch. I think it's a smart move. Project Octopath Traveler, I wish I would have brought this up when I did that video on the sad Secret of Mana remake. Oh yeah, you thought all your dislikes were going to get me to pedal back on that? No chance. Tons of people in the comments like, oh, it's 3D. 3D is best graphics. Always. GG, bro. Yeah, please, try and tell me that that game looks better than this game. They showed a bit more of an in-depth look at the job system, how it works with the combat, but, you know, this is another one of these titles I've been long sold on. Just give it to me, the big dumb pop-up book special edition and all. I want it. I want everything. Travis Strikes Again was long said to be sort of a mini-game collection of sorts, so I was expecting it to be pretty wacky, given it's also a No More Heroes game. Obviously, I would have preferred a true entry in the No More Heroes series, but this looked pretty fun, specifically the beat-em-up stuff. Beat-em-ups is one of those genres that just gets next to no love these days. I can't even tell you the last quality one I played, so I'm totally down for that. Hopefully, if this does well, that means the franchise will continue on this system, and I'm crossing my fingers for the first two to get a re-release on the Switch. Dark Souls looks like it will very well be the Dark Souls of Nintendo Switch games. The Solaire of Astora amiibo, I'll say it, I think it was a nice touch. I guess it's going to let you do the Praise the Sun gesture with perhaps some sort of invulnerability. What they actually said in the video was you can do it with, quote, reckless abandon, which to me sounds like you can do it without worrying about getting hit, or at least having the animation interrupted. The cool thing about the Dark Souls details we got, of course, though, was they're going to do a network test at some point. So that will give us all a chance to see how the Switch version performs, as well as give those unfamiliar with the series a chance to check it out. I really like that. Then we got the big gameplay showcase for Mario Tennis Aces. You know, I've been saying that I'm increasingly looking forward to this release, and this display really put it over the top for me. The different crazy types of hits and saves you can do, the ability to break your opponent's rackets. I mean, this is why once I went Nintendo sports games, I can't do Sims anymore. They're all so bland and boring. This looks like an insane amount of fun, plus this big story mode with challenges. I mean, day one buy for me. I think it's going to be awesome. Undertale, I feel, is a game that it has to be on everything. It's charming enough. Honestly, it's not really my cup of tea, I'll admit it. But I get why it has the big following. It's one of the most recognizable indies in recent memory. So of course it's nice to have it on the Switch. I have seen a good amount of people say they want it on the platform, so I'm sure they're pleased with that.
Gaming icon crashes Nintendo Switch.
The rumors were true. The Crash Insane Trilogy is coming to the Nintendo Switch. The longtime Sony mascot has jumped ship. I already talked at length about my opinions on the Insane Trilogy in my video discussing the original rumor, so while I don't know if I'd pick it up right away after playing it so recently, these 3D platformers hold up surprisingly well in my opinion with the HD overhaul, and if you're a fan of those early era 3D games from like the late 90s and early 2000s, yeah, I can't recommend this enough. Little Nightmares, however, is a game I will for sure be double dipping on though. I love horror stuff, and this game has some of the creepiest imagery you'll find in a game. However, this isn't some lame walking simulator / monster closet jump scare fest. This is a stellar puzzle platformer as well. I may even try to grab that Pac-Man amiibo just to get that mask, honestly, because yeah, I loved this game and I'm ready to play it again. I always say the Switch was made for RPGs, and South Park, the fractured but whole, it's going to be no exception. I'm so glad I held off on this. Kinda sucks that it seems like people aren't going to be able to play both the first game and the second one on the Switch. Myself, I already played the first one, so it's not a big deal. But I don't think you really need to play the original to play this one from what I've seen. I know they tie together, but this is more so its own story. Obviously, the game looks just like the show. When you're actually playing it, it's kind of awe-inspiring, honestly. Like, it looks like you're just watching the show. And also, just like the show, it pulls no punches with the humor. I plan to grab this as well. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition got its release date of May 18th. I think people are probably mostly decided at this point on whether or not they're getting it, so I don't think we really need to talk more about that. Moving along, ARMS. ARMS made an appearance here. They're doing an online tournament with the finals set to be held at Nintendo HQ. I've mentioned that this game didn't seem like it really blew people away, but it set some solid groundwork, so I'm glad it seems like it's still getting at least some sort of support. However, they didn't really announce anything new for the game, so it seems like major update-wise, it's still pretty much done. And then the thing that made me the happiest, and no, I'm not talking about the big reveal at the very end, Splatoon 2. Nintendo has had a big hit on their hands since debuting this franchise, and I've said I want to see them treat it like it's right up there with their other major IPs. They announced a huge update for the multiplayer mode, patch 3.0, over 100 new pieces of gear, new stages, a high-level rank bracket, rank X. Also, they announced a new single-player campaign expansion. The single-player expansion will be paid DLC costing $20, and I've got to say, yes. Nintendo, keep building on this game. Come out with more DLC packs if you have to. But honestly, and you guys know, I'm a stickler when it comes to the cost of games, DLC, and all that. But right now, I believe Splatoon is one of, if not the best deal in the shooter genre, in terms of the quality of game and all of these additions so far that have been free. If paid DLC can help make the game even bigger and better, bring it on. But the Squid Kids, they weren't done. In the tried and true, oh, just one more thing announcement, it happened. If you have been in any comment section of any Nintendo Switch related YouTube video, forum thread, blog post, anything that discusses upcoming games, you will always, without fail, see a trend in those comments. Smash? Smash when? Give us Smash. Smash and you can take my money. These comments are everywhere. Nintendo listened, and Smash is coming to the Switch this year. Which leads us to the big question. Is this a port of the previous Smash game or a brand new game entirely? I think the smart money is on a Wii U port, with added characters, stages, and features. Obviously some stuff for Splatoon. However, I'll give it to those of you who think otherwise. Certainly we all hope otherwise, and there is some interesting things about this trailer. Many have noted Link's silhouette seems to be his Breath of the Wild version. Could be just a costume, but it's there. Also the logo, really suspicious that it doesn't have at least the same logo as the last version, perhaps replacing the for Wii U with for Switch. And the copyright that appears at the bottom corner at the end says original game and 2018. Now none of these things actually prove anything, but they certainly don't suggest a port. But now I also see a lot of people say, well, the last Smash game came out in 2014, so it makes sense we'd get another one now. Which is true, but let's also not forget, the game was getting supported with new content, including stages and characters, until 2016. Again, not like they can't develop the new game while churning out that content for the last one, but it's not like this game dropped in 2014 and that was pretty much it. They could have easily moved on to another one. Work was still being done on this game through 2016. Also, though, we know the Switch still needs a big holiday game, but they must have some bombshells saved for E3. I mean, one could only assume. And I think this Smash game, whatever it is, as well as any big E3 stuff, would have to release around the holidays. It's hard for me to imagine that we'd potentially get a brand new Smash as well as something new from E3. I mean, which we're hearing a lot of rumor may be the big Pokemon showcase, and a lot of people are still saying Pokemon is going to make it in 2018. Could we see both games? I will say, if Nintendo did want to top the 1-2 punch they hit us with last year with Breath of the Wild and Odyssey, A brand new Smash game and Pokemon game in the same year would do just that. But also, a new Smash could take pressure off Pokemon, as well as Metroid Prime 4. I don't know. This is obviously, it's all speculation. What I will say for certain is that if this is a port, it was pretty lame for Nintendo to reveal it in this way. They should have ripped off the Band-Aid and made it clear what's in store for the players. Instead, they seem to have put quite a bit of effort into keeping things ambiguous. Personally, whatever it is, I just hope the online works. And this video is starting to go long, so I'm going to cut it here. Let me know your thoughts on the latest Nintendo Direct in the comments, and obviously, what do you think we're in store for with this new Smash game? As always, I'm John Zakari, and thanks for watching.